Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Brakah Kwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well, and peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Matthew chapter 24, verse 12. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. And when we go into that word iniquity in the Strongs, it's G458.
Strong's G458. Anamia.
Anamia. And when we go to the outline of biblical usage, it says the condition of without law, because ignorant of it, because of violating it, contempt and violation of law, iniquity, wickedness. And this is ultimately talking about being in the condition without the laws of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai in the scriptures. But it can also be talking about being without the laws of these different governments in society. And we can definitely see that over these past couple of years, a lot of people out here more and more have been ignoring the laws of these different police agencies and states in the United States of America. A big move we saw in the aftermath of the George Floyd situation was calls for defunding the police and more scrutiny on these police, which had a lot of police leave the force because they saw that they couldn't do their jobs as properly. And what does that mean? That's just going to further embolden these criminals out here to go out and commit different acts of crime because they know that there's not going to be as serious repercussions for it. And we can definitely see in a lot of different states all around the country that crime is just getting worse and worse. Chicago, for instance, New York, where you got people chasing each other down in the streets and getting into gun battles. And down here in New Orleans, Louisiana, I have an app called Newsbreak. And just about every morning when I wake up, you see, shootings here, assaults here, carjackings here, etc., etc. And it's only going to get worse as we could get further and further into Jacob's trouble when Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai is really going to start judging you people for all the wickedness you've been committing. But I opened up the video with this verse to preface a clip I wanted to play, where, as you can see, up in Illinois, beginning on January 1st of 2023, some of these things are going to become non-detainable offenses. And it was posted on Hype and Hip Hop, I believe that's Instagram's page, and it reads, on January 1st, 2023, Illinois will take its place in history when they become the first state to test out the Purge in real life. The ironically named SAFE-T Act will charge and release criminals without cash bail for 12 now non-detainable offenses. Those offenses include second-degree murder, aggravated battery, arson, drug-induced homicide, kidnapping, burglary, robbery, intimidation, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing and eluding, drug offenses, and threatening a public official. Sounds like they pretty much got everything covered. What are some of the few things that they don't say is not covered as a non-detainable offense? First-degree murder or grape. But within these things that after January 1st won't be considered a non-detainable offense, some of those major crimes could fall under the category of some of these now what they're considering non-detainable offenses. As we can clearly see, iniquity is abounding, and as it said in Matthew 24, verse 12, the love of many shall wax cold. Expect more of these offenses to take place out here, and just to get more chaotic out here. And ultimately why these things are taking place is because these elites are ready to crash the system and bring about this chaos so they can bring that order out of it, getting you people in line with their NW0, their GREAT, that fourth industrial revolution, where they want all of you people to accept the charagma, the MICROCHIPIMPLANT, which is the MARKOFTHEBEAST in Revelation chapter 13, verses 16 to 18. And all of these, and best believe it's not just going to be Illinois that starts passing laws like this. It's going to start going to different states all across the country. And this, on top of the coming food shortages, energy crisis, inflation, and hyperinflation, is just going to make everything just completely chaotic out here. Let's get back into a few more precepts before we hit that clip. This is Revelation chapter 12, verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe or destruction to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, you people that aren't in the truth, the wicked of our people, as well as you heathen nations, for the devil, that deceiver, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, more specifically the elites, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And these elites understand that their time's almost up. They can see that the nation of Israel is waking back up and calling upon their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh, the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of Great Millstone are out preaching on the highways and byways, as well as putting up video epistles on the internet. And they can see that these end times prophecies that were spoken about in the scriptures are in the process of taking place or taking place as they speak. And they know when all these factors come into play, that whatever heathen nation that's ruling at the time is going to come to an end. And they know that they're the biblical Edomites, and what their fate is after they're taken out of power. 1,000 years of hardcore bondage and slavery before they're permanently culled from this planet by fire. So they're about to pull out all the stops to try to avert prophecy and establish their NW0, creating a lot of chaos and mayhem out here so they can bring about that order. But at the end of the day, it's all futile because everything's been set in stone and prophecy can't be averted. You Edomites aren't going to win, but at the same time, these terrible calamities of Jacob's trouble to take out a lot of you people for your wickedness will take place. This is Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. A time like no other, as it further says in Daniel chapter 12, where even the archangel Michael will have to intervene to save the elect. So these are going to be some truly terrible times. But as it says, but he shall be saved out of it. That he, speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel, who will have that protective hedge over them during Jacob's trouble to protect them from these calamities. But now let's play this clip.
As of January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes...
And I think that means that if somebody was arrested for one of these non-detainable offenses after January 1st, 2023, and they can't post bail, hey, they're going to be released.
But isn't limited to kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket. You have to decide what level of force is required to remove them and whether or not it's legal.
And you heard it. And that's not some little thing happening. That's some very major thing. That's a very major thing that's about to take place. And like I said, don't be surprised when you see other states start enacting similar laws like this, because the police have been defunded. A lot of police have started leaving the force, and they can't get new recruits to join. It's about to become all hell and pandemonium out here. And even the scriptures speak of some of these things taking place, which I'm going to go into. Let's see. It says burglary is going to be considered a non-attainable offense, non-detainable offense after January 1st. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods. And what does that sound like? Breaking into somebody's house, burglarizing it to take what they have. And the modern day sword, especially in the United States and America, is the gun. But in that day and these days leading up to it, people are going to be using all manners of weapons: bats, knives, chains, brass knuckles, Molotov cocktails, you name it, because of the lack of bread, food shortages, famines, which we know are coming. You've got a lot of people, even mainstream outlets, starting to say that, look, with these supply chain disruptions and farmers' croplands being destroyed by adverse weather events and these droughts, hey, expect these store shelves to become emptier. Hey, getting these people desperate out here. And hunger is one of the main motivators to get people to become violent. And in that survivalist mindset, as Henry Kissinger said, control oil, you control a nation; control food, you control the people. And for great tribulation, and not just for these famines, but for all these other calamities that are going to take place out here, that are going to cause people to become desperate and break in and burglarize other people's houses. And also just the iniquity or lawlessness, criminals seeing that there's no repercussions for their actions. Hey, so fuck it. Let's break into these people's houses and spoil their goods with the force of the sword. What's another one? Kidnapping. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 16, verses 45 to 46. And therefore, they that labor in vain. Speaking of you people out here that are laboring carnally, you're trying to better yourself in this society. You're doing it all in vain, because this society is about to collapse and you're about to lose everything you worked hard for. The only labor that is not in vain is laboring spiritually for Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which is exactly what the elect are doing right now, doing everything they can to take themselves out of this world and get closer to their power, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, filling up that spiritual bank account so they can be able to cash it during Jacob's trouble and have that protective hedge over them. For strangers shall reap their fruits and spoil their goods and overthrow their houses. And a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall spoil their goods and destroy their houses, burglarize them with the force of the sword, and take their children captives. What does that sound like? Kidnapping. For in captivity and famine, a great tribulation, shall they get children. So in the times we're coming into, expect to hear about more children getting kidnapped, and especially more women getting kidnapped and being sold or into anything out here. Sex trafficking, or just being held somewhere and abused. And you women are really about to start going through it. The Most High is systematically taking away all your different benefits and goodies that you had in society. Just look what happened with Roe v. Wade getting overturned. And now in Illinois, after January 1st, 2023, they're going to say kidnapping is going to become a non-detainable offense. And there's a lot of creeps out here that are going to take advantage of that and come after you women. the elder brother Malcolm is always talking about how when he watches TikTok videos, he's seeing that women have many stories about people trying to kidnap them when they're leaving the store to go to the parking lot. Or one woman said that when she came home one day, she opened up her closet and there was a homeless man in her closet that she had to try to fight because he tried to do whatever he planned on doing with her. And she said that she had noticed this homeless man before, so that means she saw him enough to recognize him, and he saw her enough to decide that, look, I'm gonna go and handle business with her. And especially down here, a lot of you women walk around with your head in the clouds. You go out on the weekend and drink and want to have a good time, but at the same time, you've got an uptick in shootings and burglaries and carjackings. A little while ago on Bourbon Street, a woman was raped, and Bourbon Street down here is a major street. She was raped out in public and nobody did anything. There was actually a police officer close by and her friend tried to ask for help, but the police officer didn't do anything. And before he was put on suspension, he said, hey, there's nothing I could have done because I was already working an assignment on another case. It's about to become all hell and pandemonium out here. This is Isaiah 32, verse 9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hey, this whole society, this whole feminist society cater towards you to where you get the benefit of the doubt and everybody automatically thinks you're the victim. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear unto my speech. And this is first and foremost speaking to the women of the tribes of Israel, you so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American women. And then the rest of you women out here that are living this YOLO at ease mindset, my body, my choice. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, getting kidnapped, burglarized, raped, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. And that vintage includes all the perks you have in society, being able to call 911, child support, Section 8 and welfare, getting the benefit of the doubt because you're a woman. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones. Strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. Hey, being in a state of mourning, because when things get bad, you're truly going to see how lonely you are out here and how there really is no help out here because you've burned a lot of men that tried to take care of you in the past or whatever, because you thought you could just hop on the cock carousel and move from one man to another, or have a big daddy government come and save you. Well, when all these things start to collapse, you're going to be asked out here, and that's going to be the judgment for a lot of you. No help and getting, again, kidnapped, burglarized, raped, put to death, you name it. They shall lament for the teats and for the pleasant fields of the fruitful vine, all these amenities in society that you took advantage of. One more point I want to go to. Threatening a public official. And it also states in the scriptures that these people are going to start going against these political figures, these people in the government, because they see that they're not in their best interest. Every move they make undermines their livelihoods and just makes life worse out here for them, because what you have to remember is that a lot of these public officials rub shoulders with the elites and are on board with their agenda, bringing about this NW0 collapse in society, making it worse. And in Europe, you're already having people start to take to the streets and protest over these coming energy shortages and energy crisis, because they're seeing that their governments are making stupid moves in regards to the war in Ukraine. They're putting sanctions on Russia, thinking that they're hurting Russia, but at the same time, it's just hurting the average European. And I believe sometime in October in Germany, they're going to start having the military patrol the streets. And in Germany, a couple of weeks ago, you had a lot of people start to call for their, I think, prime minister to resign because they're not in agreement with the moves he's making. It's eventually going to get to the point to where people are going to start going after these political figures and wanting to put them to death. Oh, and a couple of months ago, I did a video showing that over the past couple of years in America, the threats towards public officials have been steadily increasing. This is 2 Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. And when you go into the definition for that word sedition, it means conduct or speech inciting rebellion against a ruling authority or monarch. That sounds like threatening a public official and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. And your modern day kings and princes are these people in the government: mayors, governors, senators, presidents, prime ministers, as well as the authorities that uphold the system, like the police or the military. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Every man's going to do what he thinks is right in his eyes in that day. So as we can clearly see, with information like this, we are coming into some very dark times. So now more than ever, you sincere Akim out there should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as you possibly can to make your calling and election sure, and hope to have that protective hedge over you so you can be saved from these calamities and judgments of Jacob's trouble, which are quickly coming. And to you few sincere Akwath or sisters out there, hey, just keep doing what you need to do to stay in the good graces of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, so you can hope to have that protective hedge as well. But that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We're almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.